I just recorded for 40 minutes and then I checked and I wasn't recording. So we're going to do this again because I got nothing but time right now. So we're going to talk about Phoenix and we're going to talk about why he is one of the best characters in the game, in my opinion. At least he's a very solid character. I wouldn't say he's one of the best. That was a bit of an exaggeration. I'm so sorry. But he's a very solid character and a lot of players just play him very poorly and they don't really understand how to actually play him. They think just because Phoenix has access to this very aggressive toolkit, such as the flashbangs, that they need to get aggressive no matter what the situation calls for, right? And that's not the case. So we're going to talk about Phoenix's abilities here. And basically, what we have to go over is his firewall, his flashbangs, his molly, and his ultimate. Now, obviously, I want to preface this video by saying I'm not going to go over the statistics of his abilities, like how much his wall heals for, how much his molly heals for, the amount of time, the duration, all that. I have a video on that, and I'll link it in the description. It's basically an old Phoenix guide I made probably about 4 or 5 months ago. So Phoenix's wall is a very, very good ability. It blocks off sight lines, it heals, and it has a few other properties that people don't really fully understand. Obviously, there is the curving of the wall, which everyone really knows about. You can curve this thing pretty much as you can move your mouse. Not like a full 360, but pretty much up to like a 180 curve. So it's a pretty good wall. And one thing I have to note is when you are using this wall, make sure you don't throw it into any corners like this, because it'll just go through the corner, right? Like if you want to just come back here and heal, and you throw this at a corner, it just disappears. So be careful of that. You can throw it at walls. It'll hit walls fine, but a lot of the corners, you just can't throw your wall through for some reason. I don't really understand the properties behind it. So we're going to use B-side as an example. When you were walking up, you can use this wall, obviously, to block off sight lines. You can flash through the wall for extra surprise, extra epic surprise. And you can use your wall to heal. Okay, these are the main uses of his wall. Now, I will say, when you were using this wall to block off sight lines, you don't want to screw your team over with this. Shut down a lot of angles, yeah, but don't put yourself at an advantage while simultaneously putting your team at a disadvantage. Don't throw a wall like this that basically traps you guys in a big-ass meat grinder. So when this wall drops, there are 5 guns staring at you guys waiting for this wall to drop. Don't do stuff like that. Right? Use his wall to block off a certain sight line that could help you guys get into sight, such as this. One way I like to play Phoenix is I will block this wall off, and I will flash through it, and I will clear this side of sight out for my team. A lot of players don't expect it, and then if my team is fighting somebody right here, I can get a pretty free kill, and I can move on. If I really want to get aggressive, I can flash into CT and continue to clear out CT. Obviously, his wall heals for about 50 points. It's very slow, so if you are really needing the health, you can throw a molly down, and you can heal like this. One thing I have to say is when you are healing with the wall, you can see. You can still see, right? Don't sit in the wall like this healing. Make sure you are still in a position where you can heal and watch your angle. So like if I'm walking up and I need the extra healing, I will stick to this wall and I'll just walk up like this and then I will peek the angle. If I'm really like that strapped for health, I'll do that sometimes. So that's one way you can play it. It's kind of counterintuitive in my opinion, because then you're not really in the front lines. And if you're on low health, you should probably be in the front lines, kind of clearing out those angles for your team and whatnot. Basically, no matter where you throw this from, it will always touch the ground, right? So if you're in heaven, it's going to be touching the ground right here. So if you want to throw it from up here and then drop down, just so you can get into CT, you can do that. One way I like to do it is I will just drop down like this, and then I'll throw a wall here, and I will cross to back sight while my team goes rafters and whatnot. And I will clear out back sight for my team, so my flashes and whatnot, and I will clear out back sight. So his wall is really good. It's a very solid ability. I see people only using it to heal, and that's not what you should be doing. His wall is solid, right? Use his wall. Use his wall to block off sight lines. Use his wall to flash through and get surprise kills. Now we're going to go over his flashbangs. And the big common mistake I see with his flashbangs, obviously, is people getting way too aggressive because they have the flashbangs. So I'm going to talk about how you can actually cut that out and some of the ways to counter people, insta-dinking you when they're full blind. So you can throw his flashbangs in a few ways. You can throw it low to the ground, you can throw it high in the sky, and you can throw it wide. And throwing it wide is easily my favorite way to throw it. You can throw it close to the wall too. But throwing it wide is really good because you want to maximize the areas you actually blind with this flashbang. So if you throw it deep, I mean right here doesn't really have any practical application, but up here specifically. So let's say you're attacking here. If you throw it like this, that doesn't blind hardly anything. Maybe it'll blind someone standing right there. It won't blind this probably. And it definitely will not blind anyone that's sitting like this. So one way you can counter people playing there is you can throw the flashbang deep or wide. I just call it deep. Is you can just throw it like that. And that will blind pretty much everyone in here, including this, and it will blind sight a little bit. Because if you see where the trajectory, where it actually goes, it lands like right here. So a lot of people looking at heaven can get blinded from it. So the way you do this is you walk forward, you throw, and then you just back up. Like right when it leaves your hand, you want to back up. So that's one of the best ways to throw Phoenix Flash, in my opinion. It's one of the best ways you can use it. Now on defense, we're going to talk about his flashes a little bit. Actually, let's continue talking about attack. So when you're attacking, try not to throw your flashes like mid. Like if you have a Reyna, this is where your Reyna flash should be used as opposed to your Phoenix flash. Phoenix's flashes are a little bit more centered towards getting himself kills and getting him into areas specifically so he can clear out angles for the team. So don't flash yourself into mid. Let your Reyna do that. If you don't have a Reyna, then maybe flash yourself into mid, or you could just shoulder it, right? You could shoulder it, not expose yourself too much, or you could actually just jiggle it if there's an opper there, but you might get caught on the jiggle. So you can smoke this. If this is smoked, it's best to just jiggle this out, right? Maybe use a Reyna flash and then continue your way out, right? Because you want to use these flashes for other reasons. I'll show you what a general entry path looks for me on Phoenix on this map specific. An entry path is just like a general way I use all of his abilities when I am actually entry fragging something. So I will flash into here. I'll clear out this angle, clear out this. Then I will check rafters. I will flash deep. And then we'll clear this box, throw a Molotov, hold rafters for a bit, and then I'll clear out sight, clear out under, throw my wall like this, drop the sight, and then I will clear out back sight for my team, back pillar and whatnot, and just make sure it's safe. So when my team actually gets onto sight, they're okay. So that's one way I like to use it. That's why holding on to your flashes can be very good. If you have like a potential advantage gained from using your flashes, go ahead and use them. But if you can hold on to your flashes and you know like where you want to use them, try and hold on to them, right? Don't just throw it out at the beginning of the round to gain pointless ground that you could gain otherwise. So I'm going to go over a little bit on defense, and one of the biggest problems I see with Phoenix players in their over aggression. I see Phoenix players just randomly. They'll just throw a flashbang out and they'll just start taking fights like this, and they'll just hold their ground and just keep taking fights, right? And then they'll back up. They might just flash out again and continue to take fights. That's both their flashes gone. Their utility's useless for this round, right? They don't really have access to like any real utility aside from their Molotov and wall. So don't get unnecessarily aggressive. If you know you can secure a kill, use it. If you need to flash a teammate out, use it. But honestly, don't just throw your flashbang and just start taking fights, right? One of the ways I like to play Phoenix's flash is I will use my sound, right? So I'll hold angles, maybe I'll jiggle it a little bit, and then I'll flash out, or I will play for sound. And what playing for sound basically entails is I will hold this angle like this. I'll hold some of these angles, I'll fall back, and then if I hear them walking up, I'll throw my flash out and I'll take like a slight peek. Like I'll peek out this far, maybe a little bit wider. And then if I feel like I'm not going to get the kill, or I feel like another player is going to swing, then I'll fall back, right? And one thing you have to be very careful about when you're actually flashing into angles is people hiding behind boxes playing counter flash, because a lot of players will do this. When they hear the flash, they instantly peek out and they kill you. So be careful about people playing counter flash. And this mainly happens when you are extremely predictable with the way you play Phoenix. Like let's say you're flashing out a garage every single round on Haven. That's a big problem, I notice. A lot of Phoenixes do that, and then they just end up getting killed over and over and over again. So timed aggression is very important, and mixing up aggression with playing passive is also very good. It's one of the best ways to play Phoenix. So if you flash out, like say one round and you get one kill and you fall back, don't do it the next round. Don't do it for like 3 rounds in a row, you know. Take a step back for a round, play passive the next round maybe. If they're walking up and you know they're here, you can flash, you can take a slight peek, fall back to another angle, wait for them to start walking up. When they're like, say like right here, you can throw it, and then you can kind of peek out and clear out these angles. If there's nobody down there and you have a teammate watching, you can swing down into here and make sure it's completely clear. Use them wisely, because you only have 2 of them, and they are very, very good abilities. They can land you a kill per round if you play them right, maybe even more. So play your flashbangs very smart. There are more things you can do if you want to get extremely aggressive with his flashbangs, which you can do, is you can walk out, throw it, turn away, and then continue on and just clear shit out like this. I do this occasionally where I'm just hyper aggressive, where I'm just extremely aggressive, right? This takes a lot of coordination with actually learning how to use his abilities, but you can do it. So look into that if that's one of the ways you kind of want to play around his flashbangs. You can play them extremely aggressive, but one of the best ways I have found to use his flashbangs. So, you know, you'll be aggressive for a few rounds, you'll fall back, you'll play passive, you'll play your angles the next round. If they're walking up, you can take fights, you can fall back, take more fights, fall back again, right? So kind of play it passive. In my opinion, you should not be getting aggressive more than, like, say, you should never be getting hyper aggressive unless you're not ever getting punished. If you're never getting punished, go ahead and get aggressive with the flashbangs. Like, if they have not punished you once and you just keep doing this and it's working, go ahead and keep doing it. Just know that in the next game that probably won't work. You're just having a lucky game or the enemy team is not countering or shutting you down. So play around his flashbang smart. One more thing I have to add is mixing in his Molotov with his flashbang is very smart. I have to talk about, you know, obviously these close angles with the flashbang, because this is a killer. When you flash an enemy, let's say playing right here, right, and they're holding this angle, if you flash them and they hold mouse 1, you walk straight into their bullets. You flash this, you are walking straight into their bullets like this. So one way you can counter this if it's in a close angle is you can Molotov and then throw this flashbang, because they will be panicking because they're in a Molotov. They'll just be trying to get out of the Molotov. You can get a free kill. So that's one way to do it, and it's a very effective way to use his flashbang and his Molotov simultaneously. You can kind of mix them together in a kit, and it makes one good-ass ability. So obviously, you can throw a flash. If they're spamming, you can wait it out. You can throw another flash, wait for them to spam, and then swing out, because you know exactly where they're at because they're spamming. But I don't really recommend doing that way. That's 2 flashbangs, but if you do secure the kill and get out with your life, it is worth it. That's pretty much all I had to say about the flashbangs. Just use them wisely. Don't get too aggressive for no reason. Just because you have access to the kit doesn't mean you need to use it to be aggressive 24/7. Shouldn't take every single fight you come across on Phoenix. Play it smart. Play your fights smart. Taking fights that you know you can win. That's one of the best ways to play Phoenix. I don't have much to say about his Molotov. His Molotov's good. It's not like his best ability, but it is good. Obviously, you can heal with it, and it comes back after 2 charges. So if you need to heal with it, go for it, right? But one of the best uses for this is clearing out close angles that you can't actually see, and then you can actually, like, swing out and without worrying about this angle. So you can use it for that. You can use it if, let's say, your Heaven and your CT are smoked, you can molly off elbow. That way you can't actually get peek from elbow. You can go out and you can clear out sight like this and pretty much clear out pretty much all of sight, right? Without having to worry about getting swung from elbow. So it's good for cutting off angles that you can get peeked from. It's good for clearing out tight angles, and it's good for delaying. So let's say I'm defending here, and I'm doing this aggressive peek with an op, and I'm holding this. I take my shot, I can instantly throw my molly down and just run away. I can fall back to a much better angle. I don't have much to say about his Molotov. It's very strong. And it can be used obviously to delay bomb plans. You can learn lineups for it for your entering, which I have done for Haven mainly, but it's a very good ability, and you guys shouldn't really, and try not to take it lightly and just throw it away for no reason. Now, his ultimate is one of the biggest things, and one of the biggest ways you can play Phoenix, and I forgot to mention this earlier, is Phoenix is good on half armor, solely for the fact he has all these self-healing abilities, right? Like, obviously you're losing that 25, so if you get headshot with the Phantom, you're dead. But if you really need the rifle and you want the extra flashbang, you should go for it, right? I will, a lot of the time, just go light armor and get a second flashbang if I can't afford heavy armor and a flashbang. Because the flashbang, in my opinion, is a little bit more important than having heavy armor as opposed to light armor. You can debate me on this. I don't really, it's just my opinion, right? It's just the way I like to play Phoenix. So just note that that is one potential way you can play Phoenix, and it has worked out well for me in the past. Now, his ultimate obviously gives you all your health back, and the reason I was talking about armor is because your armor doesn't regenerate. So if you want to play around your ult, and let's say your whole team can buy, but you can't, you only have 2,900, but you have your flashes, right? And you have your ultimate. Buy the rifle. Buy the rifle. Because then when your team starts executing, you can run out onto site with your ultimate, and you can clear out as many angles as you can. If you die, the armor didn't even matter in the first place. Maybe, just maybe, the armor would have mattered because, you know, you were trading shots and you only lost because you didn't have enough armor. But generally speaking, your armor will not matter at that point because you will lose it if you end up taking a fight. So if you only have enough for a rifle, but your team is buying and you want to buy too, go ahead and use your ult that round, clear out of sight with it, and the armor won't even matter in the long run. So that's just one way you can do it. That's one of the ways I love to play Phoenix is if I really can't afford that rifle, I will do that and it will work out well for me. When you are clearing out, make sure you clear out as many angles as you can. Be quick with it, but be very precise. Don't just run around looking around. And when you die, clear out as many angles as you can. You get free cam once your ult runs out. I'll show it one more time. So when you die, let's say you die right about here. Make sure you're just running towards CT and you can like clear out as much of CT as possible when you are running through. I see a lot of Phoenix players will die with their ult and they'll just stand there like this, waiting to come back to their body. Don't do that. Do not do that. Clear out, swivel your camera around as much as possible after you have died with your ultimate. Also, of course, make sure you're in a safe spot. This is one of my favorite spots to actually ult onto a site from because a lot of players won't come back here. The other day, a Phoenix ulted right here. And I ulted from vents. I ran all the way through, threw a Molotov on his ult, and got a kill by doing that. So make sure you're in a very smart spot with the Phoenix ult. Like back here is perfect. You can ult out, and then you won't really be able to be swung from heaven. And then once you're actually done with your ult, you can obviously flashbang back out and continue to clear out heaven if your team is not up there for some reason. So another thing, and pretty much the last thing I have to say about his ultimate, is a lot of players just kind of kamikaze with it, which, yeah, that's fine. But when you use it, you want to be very quickly and very precisely clearing out as many angles as possible. And you want to be ready to take a gunfight around any corner. So if I'm running out here, I don't want to just be like willy-nilly like clearing stuff out, flipping my mouse around. I want to be ready to take fights. I want to be pre-aiming certain spots they could be, and I want to be, perfectly ready to take any fight that I might come across. Because a lot of Phoenix players will just run out, they'll flip their mouses around, and they'll just try and get as many kills as possible, or they'll just try and clear out as many angles as possible. You should really make sure you are ready for a fight, because one of the easiest ways, and I'm sure a lot of you have noticed this, to kill a Phoenix ult is just listen to him, because obviously he's going to be running out. His ultimate lasts 10 seconds. So he's just sprinting out onto site, and you can kind of just wait for him, and then swing on him and get the kill. And you can just shut down his ult if he's about to push into you, right? So try and be very smart when you're using it. Try and be precise clearing out angles. Don't just whip your mouse around willy-nilly and say you did something, right? Like, obviously, yes, you did something, but you could potentially get a free pick by just being ready to take a fight, right? So that's all I really have to say about Phoenix. I hope this was in depth as I, feel it is. This is just some of like the strategies and tactics I use when I play Phoenix, and they have worked out very well for me. Playing a defensive Phoenix is extremely strong when you play it right. And when I say defensive, I mean on counter-terrorist or defending side. You can play it pretty defensively as opposed to just getting overly aggressive constantly. So just some of the ways that I have learned to play Phoenix, and over like the last 3 or 4 or 5 months since I've been playing Phoenix. I don't even know when this game came out, but I have been playing Phoenix since it came out. And he is one of my favorite characters to play. So that's pretty much all I have to say about him. And I hope you guys actually got something out of this. If you have any questions about the Asian, or you have like anything to say, any arguments to make on what I said, go ahead and leave them in the comments, and I'll try and explain what I was trying to say. Because I've been recording for like 2 hours now since I just lost that 40-minute recording. So I'm a little bit winded, I'm a little bit tired, but I hope this was a very comprehensible guide, and you guys actually got a lot out of it. So yeah, you're welcome. Good